Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Anita Anand with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs meeting to review steps taken to boost oxygen availability in the country. Basic customs duty and health cess to be waived off on import of medical oxygen and related medical equipment. Centre advises states and union territories to register additional private COVID vaccination centres in mission mode for third phase of vaccination commencing from 1st May. Prime Minister urges all panchayats to follow mantra of Dawai Bhi Kadai Bhi to fight against COVID-19, launches distribution of e-property cards under the Swamitva scheme. Defence PSUs and Ordnance Factory Board to provide health services to local COVID-19 affected civilian population. Over 14 crore vaccine doses administered till date in the country. 3,46,000 new COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours. Prime Minister to share his thoughts with people in 76th episode of Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. Election Commission directs senior officers of West Bengal to ensure strict action for COVID-compliant behaviour during 7th phase of Assembly elections on Monday. Justice Nuthalapati Venkataramana takes oath as 48th Chief Justice of India. And in IPL cricket, Rajasthan Royals take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Mumbai. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, take all precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today chaired a meeting to review steps taken to boost oxygen availability in the country. The Prime Minister emphasized the need to immediately augment the supply of medical-grade oxygen as well as equipment required for patient care both at home and in hospitals. An important decision was made during the meeting to augment the production and availability of medical oxygen in the country amid its rising demand. The centre has decided to grant full exemption from basic customs duty and health cess on import of medical oxygen and other medical equipment related to medical use of oxygen and other devices from which oxygen can be generated. The government also decided to exempt COVID vaccines from basic import duty for the next 3 months. The Prime Minister stressed that all ministries and departments need to work in synergy to increase availability of oxygen and medical supplies. Mr. Modi suggested that import of equipment related to providing oxygen to patients needs to be expedited. The Prime Minister directed the Revenue Department to ensure seamless and quick custom clearance of all such equipment.
The centre has advised states and union territories to register additional private COVID vaccination centres in mission mode for the third phase of vaccination, which will commence from 1st of May. It has asked them to engage with private hospitals, hospital of industrial establishment and industry associations. The states were also advised to coordinate with designated appropriate authority for applications and their processing and monitoring of pendency of registration. Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan and Dr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman Empowered Group on Technology and Data Management to combat COVID-19 today chaired a high-level meeting to guide the states and union territories on effective implementation of the third phase of vaccination. The states have been asked to monitor a number of hospitals that have procured vaccines and have declared stocks and prices on COVID. They have also been asked to publicize about facility of only online registration for age groups between 18 and 45 years. During the meeting, states were advised to coordinate with law and order authorities for effective crowd management at COVID vaccination centres. Dr. Sharma noted that the COVID platform has now stabilized and is working at scale flawlessly. It is equipped to handle the complexities of the new phase of vaccination starting from 1st of May. He highlighted the importance of uploading correct and timely data by states and union territories. He said any incorrect data would compromise the integrity of the entire system.
The Prime Minister has urged rural India to follow all COVID-related protocols and defeat the second wave of the corona pandemic. Speaking at the launch event of Swamitva scheme for the entire country today, Mr. Modi lauded the spirit of rural India, asserting that last year everyone sincerely followed the COVID-appropriate behavior, which helped the nation recover from the pandemic within a short span of time.
एक साल पहले पूरा देश कोरोना से मुकाबला कर रहा था। तब मैंने आप सभी से आग्रह किया था कि आप कोरोना को गांव में पहुंचने से रोकने में अपनी भूमिका निभाएं। आप सभी ने बड़ी कुशलता से न सिर्फ कोरोना को गांव में पहुंचने से रोका, बल्कि गांव में जागरूकता पहुंचाने भी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाई। इस वर्ष भी हमारे सामने जो चुनौती है, वो चुनौती पहले से जरा ज्यादा है कि गांवों तक इस संक्रमण को किसी भी हालत में पहुंचने नहीं देना है, उसे रोकना ही है।
The Prime Minister said the battle against the pandemic is stronger this year as the country has rolled out the largest vaccination drive in the world.
भारत सरकार अभी 45 आयु के ऊपर के हर व्यक्ति का मुफ्त टीकाकरण हिंदुस्तान के हर राज्य में कर रही है। अब 1 मई से 18 साल की उम्र से ऊपर के लोगों को टीका लगाने की प्रक्रिया शुरू होने वाली है। आप सभी साथियों के सहयोग से ही ये टीकाकरण अभियान सफल होगा।
The Prime Minister urged all the panchayats to follow the mantra of Dawai Bhi Kadai Bhi to fight the war against COVID-19 and expressed confidence that rural India will fight the battle stronger and faster against the pandemic. The Prime Minister expressed confidence that the property cards given to over 4 lakh beneficiaries under the scheme will also help them avail financial benefits through loan from banking institutions. The Prime Minister also conferred the National Panchayat Awards 2021 on the occasion. The government today said that more than 80 crore beneficiaries will be provided additional 80 lakh tons of food grains under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. 5 kilograms per person per month food grains will be given in May and June to the beneficiaries covered under the Antyodaya Anna Yojana and Priority Householders category of the National Food Security Act NFSA. Around 9 crore 74 lakh Antyodaya Anna Yojana beneficiaries and over 70 crore Priority Householders category beneficiaries will get benefit from this decision. In the wake of COVID-19 outbreak in the country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had announced this initiative yesterday aimed at ameliorating the hardships of the poor due to various economic disruptions caused by the pandemic.
The government has allowed all health facilities of Defence PSUs and Ordnance Factory Board to provide health services to the local COVID-19 affected civilian population. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today reviewed the efforts of his ministry and the 3 services to fight against the current wave of COVID pandemic. Mr. Singh said the armed forces and his ministry will leave no stone unturned in providing all possible assistance to the civilian administration. He added that Defence Ministry officials and the 3 services are closely monitoring the process of various initiatives. The minister informed that DRDO is adding another 250 beds later in the evening today at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID Hospital in New Delhi, taking the total number of beds to 500. In Gujarat, a 1,000-bed hospital has become operational. He also said the work is in full swing to establish a COVID facility in Lucknow that will become operational in the next 5 to 6 days. This hospital will be run by AFMS in coordination with the Uttar Pradesh government. Government has said that more than 5,600 train coaches were converted as COVID care centres by Indian Railways. Railway Ministry said Railways is making an all-out effort to supplement the healthcare efforts. It said presently a total of 3,816 coaches are available for the use as COVID care coaches. The coaches can be used for very mild cases that can be clinically assigned to the COVID care centres as per guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The Ministry said that these COVID care coaches are being deployed as per demand by state government. As of today, 21 COVID care coaches have been deployed at Nandurbar district in Maharashtra under Western Railways. A total of 47 patients have been admitted to these COVID care coaches. Madhya Pradesh government has requested railways to deploy 20 COVID care coaches each at Bhopal and Habibganj railway stations. The ministry said these COVID care coaches shall be operational and handed over to the state government from tomorrow. In Northern Railways, the 50 COVID care coaches at Shakur Basti, 25 COVID care coaches at Anand Vihar in Delhi, and 10 coaches each at Varanasi, Bhadohi and Faizabad in Uttar Pradesh have been deployed by Indian Railways. The ministry said 3 patients have been admitted to COVID care coaches placed at Shakur Basti in Delhi.
The Indian Air Force continues its efforts towards COVID-19 relief. 4 cryogenic oxygen containers airlifted in an IAF C-17 aircraft have arrived in India at Panagarh Air Base from Singapore. The containers were airlifted from Singapore earlier this morning. One C-17 aircraft of IAF transported 2 empty containers from Jodhpur to Jamnagar today. One IAF Chinook helicopter took COVID testing equipment from Jammu to Leh and one AN-32 transport aircraft from Jammu to Kargil. A total of 10 containers having nearly 150 tons of oxygen have been carried so far by the Oxygen Expresses. Indian Railway is running Oxygen Express in response to its fight against COVID-19. Oxygen Expresses with liquid medical oxygen LMO tankers have arrived at Nashik and Lucknow. A few containers were also uploaded at Nagpur and Varanasi en route to supply LMO in these regions. The third Oxygen Express started its journey from Lucknow this morning. In Uttar Pradesh, for the movement of the train, a green corridor was created between Lucknow to Varanasi to fulfill the requirements of medical oxygen. States like Andhra Pradesh and Delhi are in consultation with the Railways Ministry to run more such trains.
In Maharashtra, 2 oxygen tankers reached Nashik after the Oxygen Express arrived in the state from Visakhapatnam. Additional District Collector and Medical Oxygen Controller Cell Coordinator Datta Prasad Nade said the 2 tankers weigh around 27.826 metric tons. A state government press statement said that 4 oxygen tankers brought by the first ever Oxygen Express of the country reached Maharashtra today. Out of the 4 tankers, 2 would be given to Nashik district and 2 to Ahmednagar. The 4 tankers weigh around 52.56 metric tons. From the 27.826 metric tons provided to Nashik, 4 metric tons will be given to the neighbouring Dhule district. The government has extended certain timelines in order to give respite to taxpayers in difficult COVID times. It has extended deadline for making payment under Tax Dispute Resolution Scheme Vivad Se Vishwas by 2 months till 30th of June. Time limit for passing of any order for assessment or reassessment under the Income Tax Act has been extended till 30th of June.
India has scaled another peak in its effort to contain the COVID-19 pandemic with the administration of more than 14 crore doses of vaccines to its citizens. The nation had commenced the largest vaccination drive in the world on the 16th of January this year with vaccination of healthcare workers. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said the country is gearing up for Phase 3 of the world's largest vaccine drive starting on the 1st of May. He said the centre has shared guidelines with states and union territories for accelerating COVID-19 vaccination coverage. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that the centre is continuously supporting states and union territories in ramping up treatment infrastructure through all possible recourses. The minister today visited the Sardar Patel COVID Care Centre at Chhatarpur, New Delhi. The minister oversaw the restarting of the COVID Care Centre and addition of 500 oxygenated beds. He said the present facility will heavily ease the burden on Delhi's existing health infrastructure to deal with the unprecedented surge of daily new COVID-19 cases. He was informed that the capacity will be augmented to 1,000 in another week and thereafter swiftly to accommodate 2,000 beds. The Chhatarpur Centre is being adequately equipped with medical facilities, which include 10 dedicated basic care life support ambulances, X-ray, oxygen cylinders and pulse oximeters, along with other medical equipment.
The Health Ministry said the country has reported over 346,000 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. With this, the total cases in the country have reached 1,66,10,481. Over 2,19,000 people were discharged during the same period. 2,624 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. Active cases in the country now stand at 25,52,000. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs meeting to review steps taken to boost oxygen availability in the country. Basic customs duty and health cess to be waived off on import of medical oxygen and related medical equipment. Centre advises states and union territories to register additional private COVID vaccination centres in mission mode for third phase of vaccination commencing from 1st of May. Prime Minister urges all panchayats to follow mantra of Dawai Bhi, Kadai Bhi to fight against COVID-19. Launches distribution of e-property cards under the Swamitva scheme. Defence PSUs and Ordnance Factory Board to provide health services to local COVID-19 affected civilian population. Over 14 crore vaccine doses administered till date in the country. 3,46,000 new COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours. Prime Minister to share his thoughts with people in 76th episode of Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. Election Commission directs senior officers of West Bengal to ensure strict action for COVID-compliant behaviour during 7th phase of Assembly elections on Monday. Justice Nuthalapati Venkataramana takes oath as 48th Chief Justice of India. And in IPL cricket, Rajasthan Royals take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Mumbai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the evening news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. It will be the 76th episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. Amid spike in COVID cases, the need for oxygen is being felt everywhere to save critically ill patients, even as the centre, state and local administrations have been making valiant efforts to ensure oxygen supply at places where there is a shortage. A youth from Mumbai has been providing oxygen to needy patients free of cost. We have a report from our Mumbai correspondent.
Exemplary work by the people from different sections of the society have come to the fore since the outbreak of COVID pandemic last year. In one such instance, Shahnawaz Sheikh, a youth from Malad in suburban Mumbai, has been showcasing a perfect example of altruism. Mr. Sheikh sold his SUV to purchase oxygen cylinders to help the patients infected with COVID and needing oxygen. Initially, Mr. Sheikh bought 200 oxygen cylinders from the amount he received after selling his car. When the pandemic hit the city last year, Mr. Sheikh helped as many as 4,000 patients by providing them timely oxygen supply free of cost. This year, he facilitated 3 oxygen cylinders to around 400 patients. He has also set up a war room to help patients to get information on availability of beds and oxygen cylinders. Knowing about his work, people from Mumbai, Thane, Virar, Kalyan, Pune, Nasik and Aurangabad have been calling up Mr. Sheikh to extend help to them as well. Not only that, family members of infected patients from Delhi, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar too have been calling up Mr. Sheikh for help. With Vinit Masaukar, Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Mumbai today registered its biggest slump in daily COVID caseload for this month. According to the Public Health Department of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, the city recorded 5,888 fresh cases of COVID-19. 71 patients succumbed to the viral infection, taking the death toll to 12,719. The Jammu and Kashmir government, in a significant decision, has decided to vaccinate the Union Territory's residents of the age group from 18 to 45 years, covering about 65 lakh people free of any charge. The cost of the vaccine will be fully borne by the government of Jammu and Kashmir. The administration has imposed a corona curfew across the Union Territory from 8 p.m. tonight till April 26 morning in the wake of recent surge in the COVID cases. All markets and commercial institutions will remain closed. Meanwhile, 2,030 new infection cases and 15 related deaths were reported in the Union Territory today. Out of these, 1,196 cases were reported from Kashmir division, while 834 cases were reported from Jammu division. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
Keeping in view of the surge in the COVID cases, Chief Secretary B.V.R. Subramaniam has impressed upon the concerned officers to strictly implement the strategy of testing, vaccination and promotion of maintaining appropriate behavior among the general masses. Mr. Subramaniam has asked the respective district administrations to ramp up the testing in the identified clusters and prioritize the vaccination to the eligible population. Meanwhile, the administration has approved the establishment of 36 oxygen generation plants across the Union Territory to make Jammu and Kashmir self-sufficient in catering to the rising demand of oxygen. Sunil Kohl, AIR News, Srinagar.
The Tamilnadu government has announced a new set of restrictions in the state in the wake of soaring COVID cases. The new measures include closure of all cinema halls, gyms, recreation clubs, bars and meeting halls. Big format shops and shopping malls have also been asked to down their shutters until further orders. The new measures come into effect from coming Monday. More from our Chennai correspondent.
In the wake of an unrelenting wave of COVID cases, the Tamilnadu government has tightened its crowd control measures. Groceries and vegetable retail outlets are allowed to operate, but they cannot function inside malls or shopping complexes. Departmental stores are asked to switch off their air conditioners. In urban areas, beauty parlors, spas and saloons are asked to wind up for the time being. Restaurants and food outlets, including tea stalls, can only offer takeaway or parcel services. In places of worship, only the priests are allowed to carry on the routine activities. Crowd at marriage functions are capped at 50 and in funerals 25. E-registration of visitors from other states and countries except from the neighbouring Puducherry is made compulsory. These are in addition to the daily night curfews and Sunday lockdowns. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Indian Railways, as a major step towards providing COVID care facilities, deploying isolation coaches in Bhopal. Around 20 isolation coaches have been deployed at platform number 6 of Bhopal railway station for mild COVID patients. DRM Bhopal Uday Borwankar said that the railway will hand over these coaches to district administration tomorrow. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
DRM Bhopal, Mr. Uday Borwankar, has informed that these coaches are meant for isolation purposes. There will be 320 beds in these 20 coaches. Another 20 coaches will also be placed at Habibganj Station, Bhopal. Each coach will be able to accommodate a minimum of 8 patients. One compartment in a coach is reserved for paramedical staff. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Telangana state government has decided to provide COVID-19 vaccine free of cost to all the residents of the state, irrespective of their age. The state government will spend 2,500 crore rupees for the same. It is expected that about 4 crore population in the state is yet to be vaccinated, while about 35 lakh people have been vaccinated so far.
The Election Commission today held a meeting with the senior officers of West Bengal on the enforcement of COVID guidelines and directed them to take strict action to ensure COVID-compliant behavior. Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra and Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar held the meeting. During the meeting, the Commission noted with concern that during public campaigns for electioneering, the enforcement under the Disaster Management Act has been less than adequate. Executive Committee of the Commission directed that the State Disaster Management Authority and its functionaries must implement and monitor the implementation of COVID norms during the campaign and take appropriate action in case of any violation. The West Bengal Chief Secretary apprised the Commission that State is in receipt of and noted further directions of ECI on enforcement of COVID-19 norms during electioneering. He assured that entire machinery has been directed to now onwards take more stringent and prompt steps for sensitization and enforcement of extant instructions. Justice Nutalapatti Venkataramana today took oath as the 48th Chief Justice of India. President Ramnath Kovind administered him the oath of office at a brief ceremony held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He succeeds Justice Sharad Arvind Bobde, who demitted office yesterday. Justice Ramana will have a tenure of nearly 16 months as the Chief Justice and is due to retire on 26th of August next year.
The Indian Army has rescued 384 people from the avalanche site near Sumna in Uttarakhand. 10 bodies have been recovered so far. The Army said the rescue efforts are underway unabated for the missing persons.
The hope of rescuing 53 sailors on board Indonesian submarine which went missing on Wednesday off the coast of Bali have faded as it has been declared as lost by the Navy. The Navy Chief Yudo Margono said on Saturday that a scan detected the submarine at the depth of 850 meters, which is far below the survivable limit. The submarine is designed to withstand a depth of up to 500 meters. He said parts of the submarine along with debris were located near the area where it went missing. Margono said the cracks happened gradually in some parts when it went down from 300 to 400 and then to 500 meters.
In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders were 94 for 5 in 15.2 overs against Rajasthan Royals at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. Earlier, Rajasthan Royals captain Sanju Samson won the toss and invited KKR skipper Owen Morgan to bat in the 18th encounter of the tournament. Both sides will look to win the match today, as both are languishing in the bottom half of the points table. The Knight Riders have won just 1 out of their 9 IPL games at the Wankhede Stadium. Tomorrow there will be 2 matches. In the first match, Chennai Super Kings will be up against Royal Challengers Bangalore in Mumbai at 3:30 p.m. The second match will be played between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Delhi Capitals in Chennai at 7:30 p.m. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have mainly clear sky with minimum temperature at around 18 degrees Celsius. Maximum is expected to hover around 36 degrees. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature will be around 25 degrees, maximum at around 35. Chennai will also have partly cloudy sky with minimum temperature touching 29 degrees Celsius and maximum expected at 37 degrees. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature in the metropolis will be 27 degrees, while maximum is expected to go up to 39. In Jammu, the sky will be mainly clear. Minimum temperature will be around 15 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 31. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky. The city will have minimum of 7 degrees Celsius temperature and maximum of 20 degrees. Leh will have mainly clear sky with temperatures hovering between -5 degrees to 9 degrees. In Gilgit, minimum temperature will be around 9 degrees Celsius, maximum expected at around 26. The region will have mainly clear sky, and so will Muzaffarabad, with temperature shifting from minimum of 10 degrees to maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky tomorrow with temperature hovering between 16 to 34 degrees. Dehradun will also have mainly clear sky. Temperature will move from minimum of 15 to maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. Now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs meeting to review steps taken to boost oxygen availability in the country. Basic customs duty and health says to be waived off on import of medical oxygen and related medical equipment. Centre advises states and union territories to register additional private COVID vaccination centres in mission mode for third phase of vaccination commencing from the 1st of May. Prime Minister urges all panchayats to follow mantra of Dawai Bhi Kadai Bhi to fight against COVID-19, launches distribution of e-property cards under the Swamitva scheme. Defence PSUs and Ordnance Factory Board to provide health services to local COVID-19 affected civilian population. Over 14 crore vaccine doses administered till date in the country. 3,46,000 new COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours. Prime Minister to share his thoughts with people in 76th episode of Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. Election Commission directs senior officers of West Bengal to ensure strict action for COVID-compliant behaviour during 7th phase of Assembly elections on Monday. Justice Nutalapatti Venkataramana takes oath as 48th Chief Justice of India. And in IPL cricket, Rajasthan Royals take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Mumbai. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.